Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I am back with a beautiful set of long nails. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut this nail down because she broke it right in the middle. So I'll cut it down and then I'm going to go in with my medium drill bit to file down some of the acrylic. And then I'm going to get a cotton ball with acetone and I'm going to let that nail soak while I remove the gel polish from the rest of the nails. So you want to make sure that you go back and file it down. That way it's soaked faster because the acrylic won't be so thick. So I'm going to let that soak and then I'm going to take off the bling and I'm also going to take off the gel polish. So once again, to remove the gel polish, I'll be using my medium drill bit, and then to remove the bling, I just used a pair of nippers. Alrighty, so once again I'm using a medium drill bit to remove her gel polish, and she does have some nails that are encapsulated like this one, which had the flowers on there. So she wanted to just go ahead and keep them because she's getting a new set pretty soon. So that's really the only thing about doing encapsulated nails. You have to soak them off in order to get all that stuff out, especially if the acrylic is pretty thick. And since the flowers are pretty big, you have to do the acrylic a little bit thicker, so it is a little bit harder to remove them. So once again, I'm just removing the gel polish and I'm using a medium drill bit. Alrighty, and I did want to mention that these nails that she have on are sculptured nails, which means that I used forms instead of tips. And this is the only person that I do that on, only because she get them really long and the tips didn't really work on her. But on the nail that she broke, I am going to add a tip to it, only because since she did break that nail right in the middle, there wasn't a nail or a free edge for the form to go under. So I am going to use a tip for the nail that I am repairing. Another thing that I wanted to mention was the dust collector. I always have a lot of people asking me if I recommend it, and the reason why I don't talk about it is because I absolutely do not recommend it, because it sucks. As you can see, like, there's still dust everywhere. It just blows the dust like all over the table. But the only reason why I keep it is because it do blow the dust downwards, so it keeps it out of my face, but it's all over the place, all over the table, all over me. So I definitely do not recommend it. That's why I don't talk about it. But once again, it does keep the dust out of my face, so that's the only reason why I've kept it. So anyways, after I remove the gel polish, I'm going to go in and push back her cuticles, and then we're going to prep her nail for the acrylic application. Alrighty, so now I'm going in with a 180 sanding band to remove the shine from the natural nail. And remember, whenever you're doing this, you want to make sure that you get all that shine off. Even after you dust the nails off, if you go back and look at it and it's still kind of shiny, you want to go back and make sure you file really good, because if not, you will get lifting. So once again, we're just removing the shine from the natural nail, and I'm using a 180 sanding band to do so. Alrighty, so now I'm going in with a 100 hand file, and I'm just filing these nails down a little bit more because I am going to do some glitter on them as well as the angel foil, so I don't want them to be too thick. So I'm also going to go ahead and file some of this acrylic off to make the process go a little bit faster. So I'm using my medium drill bit, and then I'm going to go in with my hand filed as well. Alrighty, so there's still acrylic on the nail, so I'm just going to add some more acetone and let it soak for a little bit longer. And now I'm going to go back and apply my primer, so I'm using my OPI Bondex primer, and I'm just applying that to the natural nail. Remember, you want to be careful not to get it on the skin, because if they have any little cuts, it will burn them really bad. So now I'm going in with my angel foil, and I'm going to do a whole nail of angel foil. So what I'm doing is I just kind of measure the nail with the angel foil, and then I cut around to make it fit perfectly. And then after that, I'm gonna wrinkle it up to make it like, I don't know, to get like a texture look. And then I'm gonna unfold it, and I'm gonna go in with a thin layer of acrylic, which is gonna work kind of like as a glue. It's gonna make the angel foil stick. And I'm going to place the angel foil on the nail, and then I'm going to go back and encapsulate the angel foil in the nail. So it works better if you're doing this on a new set, if you don't want their nails to be really thick, but that's why I went back and filed down their nails. Alrighty, another really important step is you want to go in with your little scissors and just cut around the nail to make it fit perfectly. You want the angel foil to be a little bit smaller than the actual nail. That way you can actually encapsulate it with the acrylic, because if not, the acrylic would just come off eventually. So make sure you cut around the nail really good, and then even if it's a little bit hanging out, you can always go back and file it down. So for this, I'm using my Mia Secret acrylic system, which is my pink powder and my monomer. And once again, I'm just going back and encapsulating the angel foil in the acrylic. And when you're doing this, you want to make sure that you look at your nail from different angles and make sure that you seal all the corners, all the edges, everything. That way your angel foil stays in the nail really good. And once again, I'm using my Mia Secret acrylic system, and then I'm using my alpha brush in a number 9. And then I'm also going to be using some glitters, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to dip my brush into the powder and then add some glitter to it. And then I'm also going to add some little strips, which will be the same angel foil. I'm just going to make it into little strips. So once again, for the glitter, I dip my brush into the liquid, then into my acrylic, and then I dip it into the glitter and I lay it down on the nail. So for this, I'm using like a purplish and a bluish glitter, and it's almost holographic because it has different colors in it. And once again, I'm just going to add the acrylic, and then I'm going to go back and add more glitter as I need it. So it's going to be like an ombre effect, and once again, I'm going to also go back and add some angel foil. Alrighty, so once I have the glitter where I want it, I'm going to go back in with a bigger bead of acrylic, and then I'm just going to encapsulate that glitter into the nail. Once again, I'm using my Mia Secret acrylic system and my alpha brush in the number 9. And remember, when you're doing this, you want to make sure you clean around that cuticle area really good to prevent lifting. And then for the rest of the nails, it's just going to be a regular fill-in. I'm going in with the same angel foil, and I'm just going to cut it into little strips, and then I'm going to be adding that on that same nail with the glitter, and then we're going to encapsulate that with the acrylic. So remember, when you're doing stuff that's encapsulated, I usually like to do it on a fresh set, that way the nails aren't really thick. But once again, she didn't want to get a new set because she's going on vacation soon and she wanted to wait till then. So I'm just placing these strips on the nail, and then I am going to go back and add a little bit more glitter as well, and then we're going to encapsulate that with the acrylic. Alrighty, so now I'm going to go back to the nail that I'm working on, or that I'm fixing, and I'm going to go ahead and file that acrylic off. And remember, whenever you're filing and you have your products open, make sure that you put the cover over your powder, because you don't want any of that dust to get in there. And I'm also going to go in with a nail clipper to kind of cut down the nail a little bit. As you can see, she broke the whole side of the nail. And I'm also going to go in with a hand file to file any of the acrylic left on a nail. Remember, you want to make sure that when you're using a e-file, you don't file too hard, because it will burn their nail if you add too much pressure. That's why I went in with a regular hand file. Push back your cuticles, and then I'm going to go in with a 180 sanding band to remove the shine from the natural nail. Okay, so now I'm going to go in and do a tip, because remember, these are sculpted nails, but since there's not enough free edge to put a form under her nail, I'm going to go in with a tip. So to glue the tip down, I'm using my KDS nail glue, and I'm just going to glue it down, and then I'm going to go back and shape it. And I'm also applying my primer, which is my OPI Bondex. So once again, I'm just going to shape it, and I didn't cut it down because she is my person with the longest nails. So whenever she do get tips, we don't cut them down because they are pretty long. So I'm just going to shape it, and then I'm going to go ahead and apply the acrylic over it. Okay, so I'm blending the tip, and then I'm going to go back and dust it off, and I'm going to apply my acrylic. So as you guys know, I like to apply the first bead right in the middle where the natural nail and the nail tip meets, and then I brush it down towards the tip. I'm going to go back and do one just below that. Once again, just brush it down towards the tip. You want to make sure that your nail tip is really nice and strong. And then I'm going to do another one closer to the cuticle area, brush it down. And also remember, you want to make sure you have a good apex, so always go back and look at your nail from the side to make sure that it's nice and thick. And then I'm going to go back and do another one, which is my fourth bead, and that's what's going to create that stress area. Remember, your stress area or your apex is where the nail gets its strength from. So if you're going to break a nail, that's where your nail gets the strength. So if it's flat, like in the back area, then most likely your nail is going to break. And then I'm just going back and adding more acrylic as I need it, and we are good to go. Alrighty, so now I'm going to go back and do the same thing for the other hand. I'm going to measure the nail with the angel foil. I'm going to cut the angel foil to make it fit perfectly on the nail. Then I'm going to wrinkle it up, do a layer of acrylic, and then encapsulate the angel foil into the nail. Alrighty, so for this now I'm going to go back and add some glitter. So remember, I dip my brush into my acrylic and then I dip it into the glitter and I'm lay it on the nail, and it's going to be like an ombre effect. I'm using two different glitters. It's like a bluish glitter and then a purplish glitter, and then after that I'm going to encapsulate that glitter into the acrylic. Right, then up next I'm going to do the pinky with glitter, and it's just going to be like a French tip with the glitter. And once again, I dip my brush into the liquid, into the powder, into the glitter, and then onto the nail, and then go back and encapsulate that nail with the acrylic. And as you can see, I'm encapsulating the nails with my pink acrylic by Mia Secret because it's really translucent. It's almost clear, so you really can't even see the pink tint in the acrylic. But you can use clear if you want to. Alrighty, so now I'm going to go back in with my hand file, and I'm just going to reshape her nails. They are in a coffin shape now, so once again, I'm just reshaping the nails to make sure that they are nice and straight and into a perfect coffin shape. Alrighty, and when you start filing the nails with the angel foil, you want to make sure that if there is any angel foil like loose or hanging off the nail, you file it off, because you don't want it to cause the angel foil to eventually lift. So make sure that you file really good around that angel foil. And once again, I'm using a 100 nail file, and I am just reshaping the nails. And after this, we're going to go in and file, and I'm going to be using a fine drill bit for that. Alrighty, so now I'm going to go in with my fine drill bit, and remember, whenever I'm doing nails, I always like to start with that cuticle area and make sure that I seal that really good to prevent any lifting. You want to be able to see where the cuticle area is, where the natural nail is, and where the acrylics start. That way, if you're able to see all three things, then you know that the acrylic is not over the skin, and most likely you won't get any lifting. So if you're having problems with lifting and you're doing everything right when it comes to prepping, you're applying your tips correctly, you're applying your acrylic correctly, but you're still getting lifting, most likely it's going to be because you're not sealing around that cuticle area really good when you go back and file this. Now, if you're using a hand file, then most likely you will have lifting as well. I know myself, I still probably wouldn't be able to do a full set with just using a hand file, because I'm so used to using my electric file that I'm scared that I'll cut somebody with a regular hand file. So if you don't have an e-file, I would strongly recommend that you do invest in one. There are a lot of affordable not hand files, but e-files. So I would look into one if you're having problems with lifting, because that was my main problem at first. When I first started doing nails, alrighty, so once again, we're going to focus on that cuticle area to make sure that we seal it so we don't get any lifting. And if you are a beginner and you have bumps and lumps, then you want to make sure you go back and file the whole nail. As you can see, I still go back and file the whole nail, but I do focus on that cuticle area mainly. But if you don't need to, then just file around the cuticle area and then just go back and file the rest of the nail if you need to. So after this, we're going to go back and just buff the nails and then start the polish application. Alrighty, so now I'm going to go in and buff all her nails. So remember, whenever you buff the nails, that's to get any of the scratches out of the nail that were left from the e-file, because if you don't and you just apply a polish after you file the nails, you will be able to see the scratches through the polish. So you want to make sure that you go back and buff and make sure that they are nice and smooth. As you can see, I always run my thumb over the top of the nail to make sure that it's nice and smooth, and if it is, we go on to the next nail. So after this, I'm just going to dust them off, and then I'm going to wipe them off with a alcohol wipe. Alrighty, so for my polish, I'm going in with my gel polish in the color Bubble Bath by OPI, which is a beautiful light pink. So as you can see, I am doing that same color over the nail with the flowers. So I am going to do 3 coats of this color on all her nails. And then we're going to cure each coat for 30 seconds. And to clean around the cuticle area, I'm going in with my French brush by Alpha Brush in the number 6. And I do have a promo code, so I'll leave that link in the description. Alrighty, so same thing for the other hand. We're going in with our Bubble Bath Gel Polish by OPI. And once again, I am going to do 3 coats because it is pretty light. And then she do have flowers on one of her nails, so we want to make sure that it covers up the flower really good. Remember, we're going to cure each coat for 30 seconds. Alrighty, so now I'm going to go back and apply some bling. So for my bigger pieces, I'm using this bling gel, and I just place it wherever I'm going to apply the big pieces, and then I pick them up with my hand or with my fingers and place them on the nail wherever I want it. And then you can also pick them up with the wax pencil, but it is a little bit harder since they are bigger. So we're going to cure this for 60 seconds, and then I'm going to come back and add some other bling as well. So once again, I'm using my little brush, which is my Alpha Brush in the number 6, to apply the gel, and then I'm going to go back and clean around it to make sure that there's no gel running down the nail. Once again, I'm going to let that cure for 60 seconds, and I'm going to do the same thing to the other hand. You want to make sure that you cure before you do anything else because you don't want your jewels to move around. So once again, I place my gel down, and then I'm going to place my big pieces on the nail. So for this, I'm using my wax pencil, as you can see. And remember, I just place them over the gel, and then I cure them for 60 seconds, and then I go back and add whatever else I'm going to add. Alrighty, so now I'm going to go in with my Mia Secret Gel Resin to apply some more bling, and for that I'm using my SS6 and my SS12, and once again I'm using my Mia Secret Gel Resin and my wax pencil. And as you can see, I applied the big pieces to where it covered the flower inside the nail, so it's not so noticeable. So once again, I'm using my Mia Secret Gel Resin, my wax pencil, my SS6 and my SS12 bling, and then we're going to let this dry, and we're going to do the same thing on the other hand. Alrighty, y'all, so now I'm going in with my gel top coat, and for that I'm using my Jovamia gel top coat, which is a non-cleanse. We're going to apply that on all the nails, and then we're going to let them cure for 60 seconds. Alrighty, y'all, so I hope you guys enjoyed. This is the final look. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram at GetNailed32, and I'll see you guys in my next video.